Good morning, everyone who's joining us in India, in South Africa, Pan Africa, and all over the world. We are meeting here today for this show called Pursuit of Excellence, which is run by the Consulate General of India in Durban. It is a series where we're going to bring African brands closer home to you, so you can know the brand, know the people behind them, and get to know how work is in South Africa for Indian brands in particular. So in this series, we're going to meet all of these eminent personalities, some big people that you will love to pick your brains. And today we are here with Mr. Harish Goyal. He is the quintessential CEO, strategist, a visionary, and the list goes on. He is currently the CEO of Z Enterprises. He's also the CEO of Esther in the health and wellness sector, and he's a man that wears many hats. As we go on, you will find out more about them. Welcome, Mr. Harish. How are you doing this morning?
Good day, and thank you so much for having me. First of all, I want to thank the High Commission of India in Pretoria, South Africa, and the Consulate General of India in Durban for having me, for giving me an opportunity to talk to you. It's my absolute pleasure to be speaking to you today. Thank you, Piyush and Sayali, for giving me an opportunity. Uh, I am absolutely looking forward to the discussion.
Sir, we are looking forward to it a lot because, as we already introduced you as a man wearing many hats, we're going to pick your brains about Z. We're going to pick your brains about your life in South Africa. We're going to literally know everything that we need to know about you. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, sir. So let's start with the first questions, which will be about your tenure as the CEO of Z in South Africa, right? Uh, as a CEO of Z, you came to South Africa frequently. You have even stayed here for the longest time. So, what do you think about South Africa as a destination as well as a business destination?
Okay. So I have lived in South Africa for 5 years. While I have lived in number of other countries, my stay at South Africa was extremely good experience. I came with few apprehensions, lot of passion, and for some reason I knew that I would love the stay in South Africa, and my experience here is has been very good. I have
That's
been to the big cities. I have been to the small cities across South Africa, and you can't match the countryside and the infrastructure and the level of development in South Africa. It is like if Africa is a crown, South Africa is like a jewel in the crown.
wow. That's quite a great analogy, sir. So, in the same line, everyone who comes to South Africa, whether it is for business or for tourism, they come with a certain set of expectations in their mind, or you could even say apprehensions. So, did you have that, and how did you find South Africa in comparison to the expectations that you had?
South Africa, as we call it, Rainbow Nation. I describe South Africa as best of many worlds. It's a continent full of opportunities. While I have seen that there is a certain perception about what Africa is and what South Africa is, but the reality is what I have experienced, that I came to South Africa to fulfill a dream. And I would say that, having looked after this business for more than 6 years at Z, we have done better than what we expected. At the end, I would say, that it's so far among various tenures, this has been my best tenure.
Wow, that is so nice for us to hear, all of us youngsters who come to South Africa with a whole lot of dreams as well. So, sir, you were here with your family. I believe your wife, your kid. And how do you think of it as a destination for your family from a perspective of living here, from a perspective of going out, enjoying yourself, schooling, all kinds of family related things?
South Africa is a family destination, and I would say it's a very good destination for the younger families, wherein kids are, newborn or extremely young. So overall, infrastructure wise, as I said earlier, it's like a mini Europe within Africa. South Africa has a very good infrastructure. If I compare versus the cost, I say that it comes at a very, very competitive cost and pricing. And more than that, there are a lot of opportunities to grow your businesses, to grow yourself in South Africa. And I also say that South Africa has relatively less competition when it comes down to doing business or doing whatever you want to do with regard to either your education or business or even any of your hobbies.
Great. So, your family really enjoyed it here? Did they feel sad when they had to leave, sir?
Uh, so my family, we normally are of a mind wherein when we leave anything behind, first of all, we never regret. And when we come to something new, we really come, all of us actually, have that child mind. Whenever we see something new, we are like, wow, it's been absolutely nice to be here. So overall, all of us, we have very good memories of South Africa. We are still, I'm in very much touch with South Africa. I have been visiting here regularly, and me and my family, we are actually South African permanent residents.
Oh, wow. That's nice to hear. And sir, I was going through your website actually. For all of viewers who do not know, please check out harishgoyal.com. It's impressive. If you need a mentor in life, this is how it should look like, right? So I was going through your profile, sir, and I see you've worked in 70 plus countries. That's phenomenal, right? First world countries, third world countries, almost everywhere you work. How does South Africa rate in those 70 countries that you've worked in rather?
So South Africa is one of my top three business destinations. As I already said in the earlier question that it's a continent full of opportunities. It's a continent with a lot of untapped potential. So one can do a lot in South Africa and across the entire of South Africa, being based in SA.
So, sir, did you have to change anything when you came here, though? Like, did you have any communication things you had to change, or leadership style you had to change, or was it all smooth sailing?
So there is a lot of, I would say, adaptation which is needed whenever we actually, we change cities or we change countries. And here it was a whole new continent. So there are, I definitely have a list of certain do's and don'ts when we actually are doing business with South Africa, when we are dealing with the South Africans. First of all, I have found that my South African colleagues and African colleagues largely, they have been extremely soft and very polite. They are also quick learner. And another unique thing that I actually found among them was what they learn, they really practice and they actually eventually at the end can do better than what I even taught. So they have been improvising over it. And South Africans are extremely creative people. And that really helped a lot in the business that I was in. adaptation definitely is needed, I would say that.
All right. That sounds really interesting, especially for someone looking to come to South Africa. So, talking about Z, sir, every one of us in South Africa, we watch Z at some or the other point. And under your leadership, Z has really, really grown. It has achieved the highest viewership ratings time and time again. So, how would you summarize the 20 plus years that Z has come to South Africa, ruled South Africa, or should I say Pan Africa, in fact?
Very good question. In fact, uh, I was waiting for it. So when we came, more than 2 decades back to South Africa and to Africa, that time we were targeting to bring television channels and entertain people of South Asian origin. So they were like, the Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Sri Lankans, Nepalese, right? So we actually came with, to cover that market, and we have really excelled in that market. We have been leading that South Asian viewership business very well from over 2 decades. However, last 5 years, we have seen phenomenal success in what we did by bringing the newer channels like Z World in English, Z Magic in French, and very recently Z Alum in Amharic language. Earlier, we were catering to about 2% of the continent's less than even 0.2% of the continent's population of a billion. We were catering to 2 million people of South Asian origin. However, Bollywood has a very universal appeal. And when we launched a channel Z World, which is television content adapted, customized in English, this channel actually has a appeal across black, white, colored, and even South Asians. This one really opened up a whole new business vertical for us, wherein we have been one among the best performing channels, not only in South Africa, but in most of the African countries, be it Nigeria, be it Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Botswana. And I think that was having done that, in last 2 years, we further went ahead and we actually have produced some of the series which are integrated productions using South African stars, along with the Indian actors. And these series and telenovelas have done even better than what we actually anticipated.
Wow, that is quite a revelation. So, guys, if you didn't know, Z actually uses South African actors and stuff as well. So, if you have the talent, you can try it, right? Now, looking at something a little more serious and something more economic in South Africa, right? Z has always been very active and hands-on with its CSR drives and economic development, or like with schools that you work with. Can you shed some light on all your CSR initiatives that you have taken, particularly in South Africa?
We have been associated with quite a lot of CSR initiatives across South Africa, a lot of them around Gauteng area. One of the one of the areas that we really focused on was the education, and wherein we tied up with the another foundation, wherein we renovated the senior secondary schools. So we have an association with Deepdale Senior Secondary School in Soweto. We had renovated its science and the maths classrooms and laboratory. And then also we have been associated with Cosmo Senior Secondary School in Randburg, wherein we had renovated their classrooms, and we have also been associated with the Thembisa Hospital in Gauteng area, wherein we have actually helped refurbish and renovate the wound clinic at Thembisa Hospital. So all these initiatives have been actually, around, uh, I would say, very, very deep settlements, which are wherein which are also hub of our target viewers.
Sir, you're very modest. I believe you have also been formally acknowledged by the government for your really good initiatives for upliftment. So you gave a really short, concise answer to this. But for those viewers who want to look it up, they can look it up on his website. Amazing initiatives. Let me squeeze one last question in here about Z before we move to the next segment. I think you had run a talent kind of a competition here, like a Z Miss India types. Can you give us some information on that? Because I know a lot of viewers want to know more about that. They're keenly interested.
Miss India South Africa is a pageant that actually has been existing in the country for over 25 years. And we have been associated with it since I took charge of the business in Africa in 2014. And since then, the pageant is known as ZTV Miss India South Africa, wherein every year there are, first of all, the city level and the state level, province level competition that happens, and then the winners from there are shortlisted to participate at a national level competition, and then the three top winners are selected. So it's very little that we could actually do, because a lot of people correlate the beauty pageants with the television and the film industry. So we have a good experience of dealing with the pageant organizers. So we are, the pageant is organized by ICC. It's a Durban-based organization, which had the former chairman was Mr. Farooq Khan. And now this is being the CEO of the pageant is Mrs. Kamisha Nanu, who is a dentist and also is a former Miss India South Africa, and she is living in Durban, where the Consulate General of India actually has asked me to speak to.
Sorry for throwing in this question, but there were a lot of people who really, as you said, associate this India segment with entry into film industry in India. So lots of people aspire to win it. So we had to put that one in. Now, how about we move to the next aspect of your career, right? We introduced you as the CEO of Z, but also as the CEO of SL Group's Health and Wellness. So I went through your website, especially Yovan. It's extremely intriguing. It's an amazing concept that everyone would like to know more about. Can you share on Yovan?
All right. First of all, for those who don't know the meaning of Yovan, Yovan is a Sanskrit word. It means eternal youth. So Yovan is our health and health, wellness, and lifestyle brand in America. Under Yovan, we have a few verticals. One of it is health resorts. We do run a health and wellness resort in New York upstate. This is located in Catskill Mountain, spread across 1,400 acres of land, and this is where we actually treat and deal with the health conditions. We also have health and lifestyle television channels that come under the brand. The other vertical that we have been actually working on is the daycare centers across various markets. And then also we have got a digital online business wherein we do sell health supplements across e-commerce websites.
Wow. Sir, seriously, when I introduced you as a man wearing many hats, it didn't do you justice. You've worked in telecom, you've worked in entertainment and media, and now into health and wellness. So, sir, the most basic question, right? You have literally defied all the general rules of hiring people within the industry. How did you do it? And what tips would you give for someone who's looking to change industries suddenly?
I would actually, say that I'm fortunate that every time I actually had a change in my role, or I actually took over a new assignment, that it had been a entirely new business vertical for me. You are right that when I worked in Industar, that was my first telecom infrastructure experience, and I had never worked in telecom infrastructure before. And it was the same situation when I had joined Z Entertainment 7 years back. This has been my first television broadcast entertainment media experience. I had never worked in television industry before, and I think I'm fairly happy with what I could achieve in during my tenure with Z Entertainment as the CEO of Africa and Asia Pacific. And now, absolutely right, Sayali, that I have got into health and wellness space. And this is the first time that I'm working in the health and wellness business. I had no prior set experience of running a health resort. But then, I say that, compliments to the investors and promoters who have always shown confidence in making me responsible for the new verticals, and rightfully so, because a lot of time, when we are running these businesses, we have a lot of experience and experienced people who are already uh, running the business in a certain way, and that makes them run the business as with set rules. When people like me who actually come with blue sky thinking, I think it brings a lot of freshness uh, in the thoughts and the ideas, and one actually start looking at the business with a very fresh and new lens, instead of a very defined process. And then the colleagues who already have the expertise of working in the business actually keep correcting me if I am taking a direction which is actually proven wrong. So for so far, I would say in last 3 decades of various, this is the seventh industry vertical that I have been associating with, and the first six verticals that I have been associated, it has worked well for me, whether it was television or consumer durable or renewable energy space, or even in the outdoor media experience, and the very first experience wherein I actually was a research executive in the foothills of Himalayas in India, working for a electronics and ceramic business.
Wow. Sir, I would say good luck for your next venture, but it's in your mindset. You're so open to all of these new adventures and you're taking them on head on. You don't need it.
Thank
So,
you.
moving on, you're a C-level executive, right? For all of us who picture C-level executive, we think hard work, late nights, always on the laptop, always on the call. So, sir, how do you handle your work-life balance? Since you're in the health and wellness sector, this is an apt question to put to you.
Um, First of all, I say that if you are enjoying your work and you are passionate about what you do and what you are doing in life, the work life balance naturally comes to you, because when you're working, you're still balancing your life, and when you are actually relaxing, you're thinking about work. uh, So catch is actually, if you are enjoying and you're passionate about what you do, I think you are at the right place. And second thing that I have seen is that, look, there are tough moments in business. There are times when you have to take tough situations and tough decisions. And it is all about that, these tough moments should not be impacting and affecting your personal life and well-being. I would say the quick, remedy that I have been using is a very quick switch off and switch on, which means, the moment you have your phone is ringing, you know that what it is ringing for. So you switch on your mind and you immediately get to face that and handle and manage that situation. And the moment the phone is off, or one should know how to switch off your mind and change your track and get on to the next track and next field immediately.
Oh. So, sir, I was going to ask you for practical advice for millennials, but you answered it in the previous question. So, I'm going to change the question a little bit. What would you say for people who want to come and do this kind of very extensive, time-oriented, work-oriented business in South Africa? What would be the practical advice that you would give to them?
All right, so this one I would take little longer to explain really, as to so one understand as to what is Africa, what is South Africa, and how it is different than the continent and the country we come from. First of all, Africa is consisting of 54 different countries. Certain times in our business, a lot of times people tend to paint it with a white brush, which means one stroke of white brush and they say, okay, Africa is done. I think that's not really right. The way, whatever I have run 2, 3 businesses in the continent, be it telecom or renewable energy or in the media, it's a very fine brush country. So what it means is what works in Kenya may not necessarily work in Nigeria, and what works in Nigeria may not work in South Africa, and what works in South Africa may not work in Botswana. That's one learning that I have had. So one has to find ways and means depending on the kind of business one is in, and then draw certain similarities in various markets. Like in television business, the first group that we created was based on the languages that so many countries speak English language, so there is a definite market for launching an English channel product. So many markets are dealing in French, so there was no use of launching an English product in a French market. And then similarly, once you have done English and French, then one has to take a call whether you want to go very thin and address a smaller market, which is a Portuguese speaking countries in the continent. Or one can then go to the next level of grouping, finding some similarities in the business, wherein one can say that, look, the East African countries are speaking certain language, and then, the West African countries, one could actually say that, look, between certain countries, a small group can be created. And then it's, if we try to do too much on one field, it may not necessarily, I would say that if you do more of what has worked for you, may not necessarily bring more success or guarantee more success in future always. So one has to keep changing gear, one has to keep innovating. Now, when I use the word innovation, innovation doesn't mean disruption in the continent, disruption in the market. Innovation means, doing something differently, or maybe, doing different things. Then the other mistake that I have seen a lot of businesses that have done when they are actually trying to set up shops in South Africa or in Africa, a lot of people try to do business from long distance, which means there would be a team sitting in South Africa or certain African markets, but the decision making is sitting in America or in UK or in Dubai or somewhere else. I have seen that it has not always worked very well. If the decision making is local, our South African businesses tend to appreciate it. They are aligned and they do prefer that let decision making be local, so the decisions can be taken quickly, taking into consideration what is good for this business or good for this market. Because few times we actually depend on very standard research reports, which actually are not really painting the true picture. Sometimes, these research reports, which are the standard research reports, actually are misleading. And in our business, I would say that, our own syndicated research that we, appointed and we conducted for our own business, wherein we were ourselves involved with our experience, with our knowledge, and with our way forward strategy. I think that worked better for us and brought the quick results also. And one last thing, I think the local inputs cannot be ignored. Local inputs and the guidance from the local staff is a lot more important than depending entirely on the research reports, because they do give you a lot of insight.
Wow, you've opened like a box of secrets for all of us new entrepreneurs here. It's amazing. It's experience is so valuable, sir. Now, all of this was quite a bit technical. How about we move on to some more fun things that are purely about you? Would you be open to answering some personal questions, sir?
Let's take it, Sayali.
So, sir, if you were coming to South Africa on a vacation, like purely play and no work, where would you go? What would you do? What would the itinerary look like?
Okay, so first of all, I have a long list of my friends and families in South Africa. So a lot of time will be actually spent with the friends. I'll actually be meeting them, going around with them, and so I have a good network uh, that actually has given me good memories, and so it will be actually really fun to catch up with these friends and families. South Africa is very versatile. Say it's very close to nature. So instead of sitting inside in the rooms, I would actually be sitting in the nature somewhere across the countryside.
Lovely. So, what do you prefer, sir? Cape Town, Durban, or Kruger, or Pumalanga?
All of these are good choices, but I think I have overdone it. So I would, if I have to go and sit somewhere quietly, I will go and sit at God's window and spend my days over there.
Lovely. My choice as well. Now, sir, as the person who knows Z the best, right? Which are your two favorite shows on Z and why?
Okay, first of all the shows that actually we have on our television channels and on our network are good. Each one is better than the other. But still, since the choice has to be given for the two best, actually, immediately the two names that come to my mind. One is a show called Mehak. This show is also known as Zindagi Ki Mehak, but then in Africa, people know it as Mehak. So this is our first integrated production that actually had involved South African actors as well as Indian television actors. So this was a story which actually has both the actors from both the countries, and this show has done extremely well. It's the story of a South African family that goes and settles to in India for business, and then eventually, the families love and fall in love with India, and it's actually my personal favorite, and also this has actually been rated very high by our Black African, South African viewers. The second good show that I have liked personally is Ganga, which is again the story of a very young girl. It's story of a child marriage wherein a very young girl in her teens actually is widowed, and then the story revolves around it. So these are the two favorite shows, but all the shows, as I said, uh, have uh, uh, have been better than one other.
Spoken as someone who's spearing the brand, right? All the shows are good. Yeah, but I'll definitely watch these two shows at your recommendation. So, sir, what do you prefer, books or TV? Do you like to read or do you like to see?
Sorry, please say again.
What do you prefer? Do you like to read books or do you like to watch it on a movie or say on a show? Do you prefer books or TV, television?
It's not one over the other. I would say both. So there is a good, I would say, combination of, a good um, amount of time which is actually on watching content over the screen. I would say multiple screens. It's not limited to television. It could be, small screen. It could be digital, OTT, and number of other new technologies that have come. And of course, book reading is very traditional for people of my age. So we have grown out of books, and sometimes I remember some people used to call us bookworms. So book reading habits never go.
Yeah, I noticed you read a lot of books from your website, which is why this question got just featured in suddenly. Now, so which is your favorite restaurant, or you could say favorite food even, when you were in South Africa?
All right, so this one is not easy, but I do like Asian food. I do like Indian food, and there are a number of South Africa has actually, a lot of Asian and Indian restaurants. So I won't name one, but there are a lot of them around. I would say Santon and around Four Ways and the one at Monte Casino, which is a nice hanging
Sir,
outlet
you
for me.
dodged the ball here. Any name coming out of your mouth would be like free advertising, free publicity, man, for those restaurants.
So this one, there are two
Thank
of
you.
them. One is Classic India, which is in Four Ways, and other one is Thawa at Monte Casino, I would say. Yeah.
Really nice. And one last question from me. What are your weekend activities, or what do you do in your pastime when you're not like the CEO, but you're yourself?
So I like to be myself, wherein I two, three activities that I normally do mostly on the weekends. One is either of walking, jogging, or cycling. So one of these three must be done during the weekends, and I really like doing these three: cycling, jogging, and
Wow.
walking. Yeah.
So then you do have some prior experience in the health and wellness sector then, since you do it all the time, every week, right?
That is
So
actually, personal lifestyle actually, has been quite, I have been a follower to what normally is recommended by the health and wellness experts.
And sir, before I just let you go, do you recommend for us youngsters to do something in particular or change a certain habit in our life to make our lives more fruitful, less burnout, less work stress, more mentally healthy?
I would actually say it's a vice versa, right? While I would love to give one or two advice, there is a lot to learn from the new generation also. Um, and from my side, I would actually say that uh, believe in yourself, first of all. Believe in yourself. Be sure that what you are actually doing is right. Um, be passionate about what you do. Have some passion. And I would also say that, look, change before lethargy starts to set in the bones. So I have been quite a I have been changing quite a bit, whether when it comes down to the role or the place of work, or city of work, or country or continent. In fact, in the last 7 years, uh, in 2014, I was living in Delhi in India. In 2015 to 2019, I was living in Joburg in South Africa, and right now I'm living in Singapore. And come 2021, I am already in the process of moving to a whole new continent of America in the upstate New York state. So yeah, so I would say that change is also good. Um, so these are the three high level messages, but at the same time, there's a lot to learn from the millennials and the younger generation.
Amazing. Piyush, do you have any questions? Any personal thing you want to pick his brain for?
Yes, one thing actually was just focusing on the interview, and I was somehow missed that, being in health and wellness segment, what is his view about yoga and how brand yoga and brand India is being perceived across the world because he has traveled to many countries. So how exactly people accept it or people understand yoga? And there are different sorts of yoga and all sort of funny things are happening around that name. But how your one and being in wellness industry, how do you use this Indian skill, Indian brand, and Indian what you call value system? How do you take it to the world?
So I would say we call it yoga or we call it yog. So, Sanskrit word originally was yoga, and then in English we got the world knows it as a yoga. And now more than we speak about yoga, I think the world speaks about yoga because after United Nations actually declared during the month of June, a specific day as a International Yoga Day. So there is a global following of our traditional meditation and exercising method of yoga. And for us, actually, because we have been also, having some of the yoga instructors, and it's done very extensively at our health and wellness resort, Yovan, in Catskill Mountains of New York. Um, I think it's a new thing. It's happening. Its awareness has really grown. It's a global phenomena. And during the current environment of, the current pandemic that we have been we have gone through for the last uh, 10 odd months, I think the importance of yoga has even been caught more. Pranayam has been very well Googled subject and topic now. Um, so I think we are on the right track.
Super. So, Piyush, that's all for you.
One more thing, if I have the liberty of asking, how, Mr. Goyal, how do you see the emergence of OTT platforms, and do you take it as a challenge to your normal satellite business? Or I understand Z is also ventured into OTT segment, but how do you see the future panning out to be?
Okay, so I will answer this one as an electronics engineer. I am electronics and communication engineer. So I will actually, answer it more as an engineer and what I have seen in last 3 decades. So when I graduated way back in 1990, there was already, I was reading that screens are becoming smaller. So there were certain departments in almost every other electronics company that everyone was working on making screens smaller. So there are two ways. While screens did become small. So the big screens, cinema screens came down to television screens came down to the laptop screens, and laptops to the mobile screens. But then of late, I have also seen that once it has reached certain level of threshold, I see that screens actually have started becoming bigger now. So how I say it is that, look, when the initial mobile phones came, it used to be a one single line LED screen. I mean the LCD screen, and then LED screens, and then two line screens, and then the big screens, and now the mobile phones actually used to fit in the pocket, and now mobile phones are not even fitting the hands, and so screens are actually becoming bigger. Now, coming to the ways of consumption of content, it is all about, how do you consume the content? So if I have to answer these questions, actually, I have to decide, first of all, am I answering it from a South African perspective, or am I answering it from an American perspective, or from an Indian perspective? Because the answers could be different depending on which continent I am sitting on, because the level of technological advancement is very different in each of these countries and continents. Um, Overall, I would say that the total consumption of content is increasing. There are certain demographies wherein consumption of television mode has continued the same, and maybe a little bit of the OTT consumption has also become a habit, or a online consumption of content has become a habit. When it comes down to the newer generation millennials, I think they are more comfortable consuming content from the smaller screens, which is OTT and the newer technology, and little one bit from television. um, and if it is from perspective of Africa or South Africa, I've been hearing from last 7 years that, look, OTT is catching up. But the fact is, if you look at the DTH and DTT platforms, I won't name any of them in the continent. Businesses are growing, subscribers are growing, consumption has been growing, and at the same time, this is one unique continent wherein every 5 years a new player launches the DTT and DTH services, and at the same time, number of OTT players have actually been launched in the continent. At the same time, every year number of OTT players also shut their shops in Africa. Some say that they were ahead of time, some say that, look, they would come make a comeback. So I would say there is no right or wrong answer to it. It is all your individual strategies, as to your individual business priorities, as to how you want to grow and get in this business. For sure, OTT is coming. OTT is already there. OTT has already established in some of the mature markets, and one should be concerned about the reduction or the shrinking of the linear or the television businesses.
Super, that was extensive. So, Piyush, anything non-technical right now to end on, or should I continue with the conclusion?
No, I'm done. Thank you so much, Shailaji. Thank you, sir,
All
for
right.
your answers.
So Mr. Goyal is also going to be speaking at the next Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. So guys, please stick around, know more about him when he talks about this at this global tourism event. Harish, thank you for joining us for this interview. On behalf of the Consulate General of India, Durban, as well as from me and Piyush, we would really like to thank you so much for being so open, so honest, so friendly, and so amazing to talk to.
Thank you so much to High Commission of India, Consulate General of Durban, to Piyush, to Sayali, and to all the viewers who actually have tuned in to listen to me. Thank you so much. It was absolutely fun speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. That's the wrap of today's segment of Pursuit of Excellence. It was a lot of talking to Mr. Harish Goyal, and thank you all for joining us. We also thank His Excellency Shri Anish Jardhan, Consul General of India, Durban, for making it all possible. Thank you. Please join us next time. Namaste.